This is Bizz Beyond the Suit.
It's an exciting day. We're back for Series 2 of Bizz Beyond the Suit, and I'm absolutely thrilled to have Laura with me here today. Laura Reid, who's the Chief Executive of Marwell. Laura has been Chief Executive since 2024. And much of her career has been in the corporate environments. The move to Marwell took her back to her roots in science and conservation, and having graduated from the University of Warwick with a degree in biological sciences in 2004. Prior to Marwell, Laura was the Destination Director of West Quay Shopping Centre in Southampton, where she spent 4 years. And I'm so excited to have you here today, Laura.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, really exciting. And you come at a time that's really been busy for Marwell, hasn't it? Mother's Day, you had the most exciting arrival, didn't you?
We certainly did, yes. We welcomed our baby rhino calf on Mother's Day about 6:30 in the morning. So not a total surprise. We knew that our female rhino, Zahara, was imminent, but it was lovely that it happened on Mother's Day.
Yes, wonderful. And we were sort of chatting earlier, weren't we? But that can be quite significant for Marwell, can't it? In terms of visitor numbers and.
Absolutely. You know, babies are whether we like it or not, they are crowd pullers.
Yeah.
We just need to always manage our how our animals are responding to visitors, and it can be a tricky balance sometimes between making sure mum and baby are settling in and are calm and quiet and able to bond with the obviously guests wanting to have a quick glimpse at the very cute, newborn baby. So but we're managing really well, and mother and baby are doing really well so far.
That's
so it's great.
Great news. And would you say that's one of the best parts of your job when something like a happy occasion like this happens?
Oh, definitely. It really brings the whole team together in celebration. When everyone's always got a vested interest in our animals and making sure that they are absolutely thriving, and it's just really nice when you see something like this happen, because it brings everyone together.
Yeah, definitely. And I suppose all this type of news has sort of totally changed, obviously, through social media, isn't it? I mean, that's literally gone around the world, I guess, hasn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, we put the actual birth video out on our social media channels, so it gives people the chance to see something like that happen, and that would never have been the case before. So it is nice. It's it can be used for education. It can be used just because people are really interested in it. It's a talking point. It's certainly a different sort of situation to how it would have been in the days before the old Instagram and Facebook. We're really pleased that people get a chance to, even people far away can get a chance to celebrate with us and be part of it. Absolutely. The really important thing is that white rhinos are still a near threatened species. They're part of our European breeding programme. That animal that's been born to us will have conservation value. Zoos have a really important role to play in making sure we maintain a population of animals that are either endangered in the wild, critically endangered in the wild, or threatened. That's the bigger picture piece, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. And we were talking about a naming, how that might take place.
Yes, not sure. I mean, it's still early days. We don't tend to name things straight away. We make sure they are going to thrive first, and that everything is how it should be. We will probably run some sort of public opinion poll on what the name of the baby should be. We don't even know if it's definitely a boy or a girl yet. No. We think girl, but we're not sure. So until we've got that confirmed, we can't think about names.
Excellent. Oh, and did we have a weight for her? How did they weigh in?
We certainly don't go anywhere near baby yet because mum won't let us. So it will be a while, I think, before we can get anywhere near sort of weight and getting a closer look at her, because we don't want to upset mum. She's being very protective, which is a great sign. Really is looking after the baby well. So we'll give them some space until such time as everything's a bit more calmed down and confident, and then we'll try and see. But needless to say, they're heavier than a human baby.
Yes, yeah, quite something. And did you say 15 months gestation?
15 months gestation, yes. Pregnant for a while.
Quite a while, isn't it?
Second only after elephants, rhinos,
Yeah, fascinating. And obviously you've been at Marwell a while now. And do you have a favourite animal there?
Oh, I'm certainly not allowed
Are you
favourites. No.
Is it like children?
It's like, no. I mean, we've got some wonderful species, and we've got some species that are incredible ambassadors for conservation, and that really help tell our story around that. The Sims horned oryx is synonymous with Marwell. It's been there since the beginning. It tells our story around how we have brought an animal that was extinct in the wild back from the brink. And so that's always one that people sort of say it's our kind of go-to, it's our heart and soul. But I mean, personally, I've got a few that I'm very fond of.
Those meerkats are very sweet.
Yeah, for us it's like the snow leopards. So our staff car park, where we park every day, backs onto the snow leopard habitat, and they're always so inquisitive. Like they always sort of sit on the top rocks. It's like they're saying hello to you every morning when you walk in. So they are just stunningly beautiful.
Yeah.
So
what a welcome to work.
It's not bad, is it?
Fabulous. And when you graduated with your degree, what did you think your career path would be?
Well, interestingly, I mean, I did a degree in biological sciences, as you mentioned, and I did all the conservation and ecology modules, that were options within that. And I really was passionate about animal conservation, particularly around primates, actually, at the time. And I really thought that my career would be straight sort of into conservation and into some sort of some role like that. But I really did struggle on graduating to know how to access that, how to do that. I knew I didn't necessarily want to stay studying. I'd done 4 years at university. I was ready to go out into the world a bit, and earn some money, probably part of it. And it was really hard to know what to do and how to access a career in conservation that wasn't voluntary. Actually, there was some voluntary.
And is it I guess those roles are sort of relatively limited, but also could be anywhere in the world, I guess.
Well, they could be, and I was more than up for that. I mean, I've always been a huge fan of travel anyway, and was always willing to work anywhere. I think it was just a case of many of the roles that were available you needed a PhD for. And so it was just a case of not knowing. And then those were the days, I mean, we just about had the internet, but it was in its, it was early days for that. It wasn't like now where you've got so much more resource to be able to research how to access different careers and role models that you could potentially follow, on Instagram to sort of see and reach out to. There was no LinkedIn, so it was tough. So although that's what I wanted to do, I found it quite inaccessible to get there, and I wish I knew now. Knew then what I know now in terms of, organisations like Marwell. We do give opportunities to postgrads, to students. We run a masters in research in collaboration with the University of Southampton, which is fantastic. Wow, and if I'd known something like that existed then, which it didn't then, that would have been something that was maybe more accessible than the kind of PhD route. So. I think any advice I'd give to people who want that kind of career now is volunteering's great if you can afford to do that, and you can do that, and you can get some experience that way. But just really research. Zoos are huge contributors to conservation programs, and there are ways in that way. So. I wish I'd thought of that probably a bit more at the time, but hey, I'm here now, so only took 20 years. There you go, I've aged myself there, but,
And I think, and it's interesting, isn't it, the sort of the way your career path develops, and there's sort of skills that you pick up along the way, and often you think, well, when will I ever use that? But it all comes into play in some way, shape or form, doesn't it, along the way?
It really does. It's funny actually, sort of having some of the early conversations at Marwell, even when I started, with our zoological director or our conservation director, and they mention things and you think, oh yeah, I do remember that knowledge from university. It is in there. It starts talking about serotypes of different bacterial diseases, and I think, oh yeah. But I think what my career's allowed me to do is work firstly along a very broad range of different sort of environments, but really with a broad range of people. I've worked with so many different people, different types of people across the UK. That's what's, I suppose, given me the skills I need now, is because really, a leadership role like the one I'm in comes down to people. It comes down to relationships. It comes down to how you can manage stakeholders, and that's what my career has sort of taught me, and that's probably the most valuable skill I've learned through all the different things I've done. So, and the commercial side of things as well, because you can be as passionate as you like about animals and conservation, but you've got to find the money, and you've got to make the money. And so that's a really, really important skill to have as well.
Definitely.
As much as it's, not the most fun part of the job, it is probably the most important.
Well, it's got to work, isn't it? That's got to be your foundation, hasn't it? That it is sustainable in all of those ways, isn't it? Really? Yeah. So your career path. So what was the first job that you did? What was
first ever job? Oh crikey! Okay, so babysitting, probably.
Course.
The usual sort of thing. About 14, 15 years old, babysitting. I did that, but my first sort of employed job, I guess, was I was a waitress in a hotel. So it was a Dormy Hotel in Ferndown, not a million miles away in Dorset. It doesn't exist anymore. They knocked it down, put houses on it. It was beautiful. So I was about 16, and I got a job as on Sundays waitressing in the leisure club, and I've still got friends from.
I remember
from there.
Interviewing Peter Alice there at
Oh,
the Dormy
really?
Hotel.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it was a lovely hotel. It was a great time, sort of late 90s. Lots of going out, lots of partying after work, lots of shenanigans. Met a lot of people. My best friend is still from those days. And then so that was, I guess, my first sort of entry into the world of hospitality,
isn't it? I love that whole thing. I was at a business conference just recently, and Yvonne Clay, it was actually from Gun Wharf, said, and who started their career in hospitality, whether that be waitressing or bar work or whatever. Put your hands up, and literally it was just a sea of hands across the room, and I think it is just so important, isn't it, for that whole thing of being able to deal with the public at their best and their worst, and all of those sort of skills are absolutely very necessary.
Hospitality is a great barometer and a bellwether for your future career. I think it's a really, really strong grounding in building relationships, both the public but also with your team as well, because you've got to work with chefs, you've got to work with bar people, you've got to work with other servers, you've got to work, with,
and it's all got to work, hasn't it?
It's all got to work, and it's hard work. It is physical. It is long hours.
Not very well
late
paid.
Nights. It's not very well paid. It is but it can be super fun. And some of my favourite memories of work have been from when I've worked in the hospitality industry, which I worked in for many, many years. So following graduating and not getting a job in conservation or ecology, I went into the hospitality industry for 10 years. I was working in the pub trade, pubs and restaurants, clubs, bars. And I've got some really, really fond memories of that time too. Really, really great memories. So it's sort of a really important part of life, isn't it? And what did your parents do? What was the sort of background for Laura? My dad was in the pub trade his whole career as well. He worked in leased and tenanted pubs all the way through. So I had a good kind of grounding and a good understanding of that world. As well, which probably helped, and my husband is still in that world now, it's kind of in the blood a bit, I think. And my mum was a primary school teacher, so she's now living her best life at Marwell volunteering, using all those teaching skills to talk to kids at the weekend. So
lovely. Oh, that's just
she secretly loves it, I think.
Yeah, I bet. Oh, that's great, isn't it? That you could stay close and all be involved with Marwell as well.
Yes,
I think.
Yeah.
And we talked a little bit about those sort of transferable skills then that you've had from your sort of corporate path that you've brought with you into Marwell. Can you sort of tell me a little bit more about that? How you think, you know, the stuff that you've picked up along the way has helped you now?
So I think definitely looking, you know, at that financial resilience piece and looking at the kind of, you know, the real kind of nuts and bolts of what our cost base is, what our income lines are, how we can diversify that income, how we can be a bit more commercial without losing the fact that, you know, the heart and soul of it, we are a charity. And just becoming a little bit sharper on that has been a real driving force. But also, I think the main skill is around leadership. It's around building a highly performing team of people, which I have got around me, and making sure we're all bought into a vision and a strategy. So within 18 months of getting to Marwell, I had published our 10-year strategy with the help of members of my exec team. So we've got a combined vision now for the next 10 years of what we want to achieve. And galvanising people around a common goal is a skill in itself, I think, and providing people with the kind of the big picture inspiration, I hope.
Yes.
Some of the team might be like, I don't know, what is the goal?
What is this 10-year
What is this 10-year goal? Hopefully, I may have banged on about it enough. So Marwell 2035, available on our website for everyone to read. So, you know, that's a skill as well, I think, is making sure, you know, when I started at West Quay, it was February 2020. So within 6 weeks of me starting there, we were in lockdown. So there was no time, there was no time to get to know the team properly. There was no time to figure out what the vision needed to be and what it was crisis management. It was hit the ground, learn as quickly as you could what you needed to know about things like Legionellas and water systems and closing down and one-way systems with hand sanitizers and how we're going to do social distancing and so it was mad. With Marwell, I didn't have that immediate crisis management thrown in the deep end, so it gave me the time to reflect, to look at what the organisation really needed to take us from where the organisation had been, where the charity had been, to what was going to be future facing and future fit. So I guess, I don't know if that's skills I've picked up along the way, but and that's what I did. And it's interesting when you're talking about the whole sort of lockdown situation, because obviously it's even when you look back on it now, you're like, did that really happen? It was just such a strange time, wasn't it? But for retail, was like, it was catastrophic,
wasn't it?
Retail, leisure, tourism, hospitality. It was catastrophic, and it was a real change in consumer behaviour that we still see today. We haven't, I don't think, really even seen the full impact of how it's changed our society, particularly the younger generations, and how they will come through that and what they will remember of it and how it shaped their attitudes to consumerism. We'd already seen a lot of online shift with the retail. That had already happened, and that's just around consolidation, and I think that will continue to happen. There'll still be consolidation around retail, physical retail, but the one thing I think people really missed through it, again back to that sort of theme, is hospitality, because you can't do that. You can get a case of beer and you can sit at home and have a barbie if the weather's nice, or have some mates over. You can, but it's not the same. And I think everyone missed the pub, didn't they? Everyone missed going out for a meal or going to a coffee shop and just grabbing a coffee with a friend. That's what people miss, because those are the little treats that make life a little bit nicer. So I think that was really interesting. And it's I think like you say, the sort of repercussions of all of that will still be felt for a long time, won't they? And sort of coming out from that. We've just, obviously at the moment there's lots of talk about all the sadly all the illness that's happening, elsewhere in the country, isn't there, in Kent and all of that sort of thing. With that, but it's so. I think there is just I don't know. It's on your radar much more, Health
isn't it? Yes,
definitely. And I think it's had a knock-on effect to what has been the economic outlook for the last few years and the cost of living increases that we've seen. That's all sort of related. I mean, I know there's been geopolitical stuff as well, but it's all kind of, COVID was definitely a contributing factor. But look, the one thing COVID did do was it forced businesses to diversify. And it made people think really creatively about how they were going to make sure that they were protected and sustainable in the face of something like this, or the economic pressure we see. And I mean, that's now definitely something that has played into me being at Marwell, and it's, I don't know if you call it a skill, but it's certainly a consideration. And so, when I got there and when I was working with the team on the strategy, income diversification was a really, really key part of that, because when we went into lockdown, when Marwell went into lockdown, so I wasn't there, that was it. The tap got turned off overnight, closed, and that was the income source that supported all the conservation delivery, all the charitable delivery, the education programs, the international projects. That income stream just got switched off. So it was pretty dire. And zoos weren't really top of the list in terms of government support. They weren't seen as cultural attractions and institutions. They weren't counted as museums. So there was a very limited amount of support available outside of the normal kind of furlough schemes and things. Only we couldn't furlough loads of people because guess what? We still had animals to feed. So that really showed a vulnerability. And I think that we want to get to a place now, and part of the strategy is to get to a place where we will never be that vulnerable again. So income diversification is still a really big part of what we're trying to do. So that's that's
and what would that diversification look like then?
All sorts. So I mean, we are absolutely blessed with lots of very clever people with lots of skills that you wouldn't even think we had. You think, well, a zoo, what have they got? Well, they've probably got people who let you in, so admissions team and front of house team. Got people who work in the shop. Got people who work in catering. They've got keepers. And we have got all of those things, but we've also got zoologists, ecologists, animal behaviourists. We've got animal nutritionists. We've got, people that are really super clever around rewilding and rewilding projects, and land management and veterinary. We've got a whole team of vets. Our zoo director is actually a vet. So it's about looking at that and saying, okay, well then what can we offer? What is our IP? What's our commercial value of all of that? And so we're looking at things like, we already do land management. So we have a site in the north of Hampshire, which is a SSSI site just next to Farnborough Airport. It's called Ilmore Marsh, and we've been managing that land for 30 years. So we manage it into what they call favourable status. So i.e. it's a good SSSI. We've increased the biodiversity there. We've introduced tons of sand lizards, so we've got a thriving sand lizard population. We do conservation grazing there, and we've created and maintained this marshland habitat where species can thrive. Now, that's wonderful, but that's one site. We can do that across multiple sites for landowners who haven't got the skills to do that themselves. So that's an area that we are really seriously kind of progressing at the moment. We've also got a load of work going on with a knowledge transfer partnership around AI with the University of Surrey. So developing an AI tool for animal welfare monitoring, which is really cutting edge and really exciting and has got multiple applications and is great for animal welfare. So massive ticks in the box. And then we've got our assets, our site itself. We've got a 300-acre site at the zoo. So the zoo itself is about 140 acres of that. And the rest of it is just our land. And there are loads of dog walking trails, ancient woodland, meadow, that people just don't know really is that's a really well-kept secret. So we want to make sure that more people can come and enjoy that countryside and the space. And grab a coffee in our coffee shop, which is open to the public as well, because it's before the zoo entry. So we've opened that was last year. So making sure people can come, they can grab breakfast, brunch, grab a coffee, a cake, and go for a dog walk. And they don't even have to come to the zoo, actually. So we've got that as well. And then it's also around looking at our in-zoo assets. So Marwell Hall, is a huge asset, and has been until now quite underutilised as a focal point of the estate. I mean, it's got a huge history, amazing heritage, loads of stories. So we're really launching that both as a heritage asset, but also as a wedding venue and event space as well. So corporate conferencing as well. So so lots going on, as you can probably tell, but all making sure that we've got that resilience and that we're really making the most of what Marwell can be in the local region.
Because it's fascinating. What was the history then? How did Marwell come to be in the first place?
So Marwell was originally a deer park. So back in the sort of probably just a hunting ground for whichever lord or lady wanted to hunt deer there. And then the actual hall was built in the 13th century by the Bishop of Winchester. And it's still got the original roof underneath our roof. You can still see the old beams if you crawl up in the little loft space and look for a little kind of window, which is incredible actually. And then it was so subsequently passed on and then became the seat of Henry Seymour, who was Jane Seymour's brother, so Henry VIII's brother-in-law. He remodelled it in sort of a Tudor style, and then as years went on, it changed hands. Different families owned it. It got remodelled again in the sort of 1800s into what you see today. So it's got some incredible history.
Wow.
The most recent use before us was actually as an RAF airfield. So during the Second World War, it was used to run Spitfires from. The land was, and the hall was used as the airbase. And in the cellar, you've still got the signatures of all the airmen that served all the way back to the 1940s, up to the 60s. You've got all the airmen that have signed their name.
Wow!
So it's really some really incredible history there.
Yeah, because obviously I've been to the hall before, and it's a beautiful building. But yeah, it's fascinating.
It is
to learn more about it. When we were walking in today, we were talking about the City of Culture bid, which I think you were very involved with for Southampton, and the news has come today that Portsmouth has been longlisted.
Yes, congratulations, Portsmouth.
Yay! How positively do you look back on your time working on that? The City of Culture bid?
I was a trustee for the City of Culture bid because at the time Westquay was a seasonal partner of the bid itself. It was a wild ride. Like, it was an incredible time. The city really, really came together. It felt like everyone was really focused in a direction, and we had a goal in mind, which was amazing. I only look back on that time with fondness. Obviously, there's that tinge of disappointment that we didn't win.
Didn't quite.
But do you know what? Like, we still absolutely made the most of it. I mean, so I went on to chair Southampton Forward, which was the Southampton's cultural trust that was formed on the back of the City of Culture bid to deliver some of that programming, not all of it, and not to the same scale and pace, because we didn't have the big bucks that came with the win, but we still managed to raise, the team managed to raise a lot of money, which was fantastic. We got a great grant from the Arts Council as a place partnership, and we still delivered some of those really key projects that were in the bid that really benefited some of the local communities here in Southampton. So I've got nothing but positivity around that whole journey, and what's the journey still continuing.
And that the whole thing around the culture is really important, isn't it? I think in sort of business terms, it's when businesses are looking to attract talent to come to the city, it's great to be able to evidence that the cultural life here, isn't it?
Absolutely.
And what's on our doorstep.
People want a nice place to live, work and play, don't they? People want to live somewhere that's vibrant, that's got opportunities. It's got opportunities for their children potentially as well. So culture is really important if you're going to pick a city to live in, you want to pick a city that's lively and has got a rich cultural, vibrant background to it. So and I think that's certainly something that Southampton has got. So I think it's a lot that people don't necessarily discover. So that's part of the role and what we've been doing for the past 3 years as Southampton Forward, is trying to highlight those cultural sort of offerings of the city at every opportunity.
Yeah, because there are some gems here, aren't there? You know, there really are. You know, sort of little beaten off the track places. And I love the what are the medieval halls, the vaults and all of that is amazing, isn't it?
It is. There's some great stories. There's Tudor House. There's God's House Tower. All these little cultural gems that people could have lived here many years or in their whole lives and haven't visited. I would always encourage people to go and do it. People who move to this think, it's just there's just Titanic. There's the Titanic and its cruises. That's like that real one-dimensional view of the city, but there's so much more.
We've got the oldest bowling green in the world, haven't we?
The fish finger sandwich was invented in Southampton. The Don't Stop the Cavalry Christmas song, written by a Suttonian. There you go. I mean, it's not just Titanic and Craig David, folks. It's really not. Great as those two things are.
Yes, of course. And looking to the future then, Laura, what does the future hold for Marwell and your role there? And
well, hopefully more of the same. I mean, unless someone's going to tell me something different. Look, we have got so much exciting sort of news and things coming up. We really have got a fantastic zoo. I'm really proud of everything we do with our animal welfare, everything we do to give our animals a positive life experience, and we've got a really exciting species plan for how we want to introduce new species and diversify our species. So there's loads of exciting things happening with our animals and the zoo. There's and how we care for animals and groundbreaking sort of research into how animals in captivity can be, looked after absolutely brilliantly. But also, the thing we haven't talked about is the conservation side of the organisation as well. We've got international conservation programmes that we run ourselves, and that's what really makes Marwell different. And we've got teams out in northern Kenya, Tunisia, Bhutan. We do field work in Kazakhstan. So it's more of that really. For me, it's about getting the zoo to a sustainable financial position where we're resilient. And then it's using all that lovely extra cash to funnel straight back in. We're a charity. We're not here to buy anyone a yacht or to increase the shareholders' value. We are here to have impact, charitable impact, both in our region and across the world, for people, for ecosystems and for species and for wildlife. So that's the exciting part for me is being able to get to the place where we can really start to increase that, really drive that impact and grow that sort of portfolio of conservation work. Maybe looking at new projects potentially would be wonderful, but really strengthening the ones we've got, impacting the local communities where we work, and also impacting the community here as well. We want everyone to connect with nature. Our whole theory of change that sits behind our 10-year strategy is that if people are connected to nature, they will be inspired to protect it. If they protect it, it will be restored. If it's restored, it can thrive. If it's thriving, more people connect with it. And so the circle goes on. So, working with, communities that maybe don't have access to Marwell to see how we give them access. That's something we're looking at the moment. Working with to grow our membership, to highlight the great value that you can come and all year round see things that are different, see how the zoo changes with the seasons. Really trying to drive that as well, and highlighting to the local people who don't know about us and don't know where, how easy it is. I mean, our membership starts from £1.20 a week. Wow. It's less than a cup of coffee. And you can come anytime you like. So it really is around making sure we're having the maximum amount of impact we can here, but also globally as well. Oh, it's all important stuff, isn't it? And with that conservation work, that's something that's sort of paid for through the membership then, is it? Or it's paid for from through the charity. So through the income we make by people buying annual membership, or we have sort of several different types of membership. So you can be, your sort of standard, if you like, just come into the zoo, or you can be an explorer where you get much more from your membership, more events and discounts and things. Or just people coming for the day, So, you know, the people who are just here down for the week, maybe in the New Forest, come for the day. And then also through any other income streams that we have. So through our events, through our weddings, through our retail, through our catering, through our education visits as well. You know, that all goes back in, goes back in to fund the work we do here and abroad.
Yeah, fabulous. Oh, and long may it be. Laura, it's been wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing a little bit about yourself and also about the Marwell journey. Thank you so much.
Thank you.